This is just another little short clip I did on Yhwh or Yahweh's name, and it is to tell you that we can know for certain that Yahweh's name tells us He cannot be our daddy in heaven just by the meaning of His name alone. And what the name stands for, it's His reputation. So we're going to look at the name Yhwh, Yod-He Vah-He, the Tetragrammaton. That's what this is, just a quick look at His name. Immediately when we look at Yahweh, the name should alarm us. And this is why. Because what Jesus told us in Matthew 7:12 and 13 and 14. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction. That's actually the meaning of Yahweh's name, believe it or not. And those that enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life. Those who find it are few. And what he's talking about is people would have known, they would have connected this at that time, that the Yod-He Vah-He is He will destroy as a verb or destruction as a noun. So they'd immediately, when he said that word destruction, connected the name to that. And I'm afraid people are going to get to the end here and go, oh my gosh, I didn't even have the right dad. If I don't have the right father in heaven, then how am I going to get there? You can't get through that narrow gate without it. And what did he say was the way? And he said, Jesus said he was the way and the truth, and nobody gets to the Father except through him. So to get to that narrow gate, you can't do it unless you go through Jesus. And you're not going to get it through destruction, I can tell you that. And that's Yahweh's name. Here's the breakdown. The Hebrew words are read from the right to the left, backwards from what we're used to. This is a Yod, Hey, Va, Hey. Okay? The Yod is the action of a verb when it's put on a root word. So that would be he will or they will. This little red Yod right there. Okay, then the root word is Havah, and it means calamity, ruin, mischief, desire, naughtiness, perverse thing, very wickedness. So if you read this out as a verb, it would be he will destroy, he will ruin, he will be wicked. And if you read it as a noun, it would be destruction. So right there you know there's a problem, a big problem with this name. This is how bad it is. Okay, here we have, like I showed you, this is Yahovah, if you just look at their pronunciation. And they've got down here in Brown's Driver Brig that it means the existing one. There's no way. Kayam up here is the existing one. Ha-Kayam would be the existing one, and Kayam would be existing. Okay, and I show you here it's Kayam, means existing, enduring, to bring it into existence, and to create. These teachings that Yahweh means the existing one, but that's not true. We've been lied to. And I just want to show you there's no way that word looks anything like this word here. They're not the same. This is a Kof, Yod, Yod, Mem. And this one has a Hey, Kof, Yod, Yod, Mem. It's just not the same word. But they want you to believe it has that meaning, and it doesn't. Okay, this is an example of where the 3 times in the Bible that Havah, that's in the Yod-He Vah-He, it's the last 3 letters, and like I said, there was no vowel points back then, is used in Scripture in Isaiah 47:11, Ezekiel 7:26, and Ezekiel 7:26 again. It's used twice in that verse. And every time it's either mischief, disaster, or ruin. This is just letting the Bible define the Bible itself. Okay, this is a quick look at what they did with the root word. It's used 3 times, but it's primarily means ruin or disaster. But what they've done, they've added the vowel points and added like to be, to exist, desire, different things. But this word never was, I don't think, meant to be anything but ruin and disaster. That's its primary meaning. But the Masoretes, they added the vowel notation system for Hebrew that they use today and the trope symbols for their cantillization, and that's where they rock back and forth and do that spell work where they're using a cone of energy and building with movement. And that's actually spell work when you look at witchcraft, where they rock and they use a rhythmic singing to say something. That's how they build a cone of energy to do a spell. And there's some really intense stuff if you get off into all that and look at the Kabbalism and stuff. But all this wasn't begin until like the 6th century AD and was finished up in the 10th century AD. So they didn't even start doing these different types of words off of the one word until 500-600 years after Jesus' death. So what does that tell you? To me, it just tells me it's a big deception that they were added on purpose to change the meaning of words.